Okay, hello, good morning. I haven't been streaming, I think, for a couple of days. It's just complete chaos. Not getting enough sleep. Like this morning, our oldest, trying to get her to kindergarten, and she just, I don't know, she probably notices us not getting enough sleep, being a bit stressed, and it just adds up and it just gets worse worse. And then kindergarten sends a message about a corona outbreak in the kindergarten, and then we have to stay home for a day to see if there are any symptoms. Luckily there weren't any symptoms, but yeah, reduced opening hours at kindergarten, again not getting enough sleep, and it's just we just can't figure out how to get like we can't figure out how to just be barely like working. Like we're constantly like dipping under, and luckily we get help, so we get help from family to kind of get back up. But if we didn't have that, like I talked to a friend a while back, who like they had a kid together, and I have several stories of people getting kids and leaving each other, and like there's no question why it happens, and people say that like they weren't meant for each other or something like that. That's just bullshit. Like the reason people leave each other is circumstances, like surrounding circumstances. Number one, like of course people grow apart, like they have new political or religious or other like deep value moral changes happening. Especially young people have this. But the number one reason people leave each other is surrounding circumstances, and especially surrounding circumstances causing stress. So yeah, and I'm just lucky that not lucky, I'm just glad I've had the inspirations in my life that I'm able to be in a relationship and know that stress is the number one factor that causes problems in relationships. And I'm like super proactive in trying to reduce stress. The number one thing I spend money on is stuff that reduces stress. So for example, people come here and clean every other week, for example, because it just induces stress to have to think about that stuff. Everything around the house needs to be practical first, and then it can look nice second, just to reduce stress. Every time we have like routine changes in the house, like we really talk through it. What's the best possible solution for us to reduce stress? And that's how we, like, our relationship is actually quite good. Like, yeah, like we fight when we're tired and when we're stressed, like any other couple, but we always end up at that point where we know why we fight, we know why we're tired, and that's the reason we fight. And so on and so on. It's not like fundamental value shift, personal value shift that suddenly disaligns us in what we want in life. That's definitely not the reason. Anyways, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how to fix this sleep thing. I don't know. Maybe it just has to be like this for another month or something. Like, because it will change automatically when the youngest sleeps more through the night, doesn't have to wake up to get fed and stuff. Because that's the number one problem. Like, I have to wake up 2 times a night to feed him. My girlfriend wakes up when I wake up to feed him, because we don't have an extra room, because that's where our daughter sleeps. So we both get this very interrupted sleep, And then my girlfriend takes over at like 5 because he wakes up at around 5. And then I wake up because of that, so I get interrupted sleep. So it's like we never get more than like maybe 2 hours of consistent sleep, which is just insane. That's no way to live a mentally healthy life taking care of 2 kids. It's crazy. And I wondered, like, what's happened? What is it? Society? Like, we have become very rational, intelligent beings, but I think we've never been worse at taking like care of like raising children, in terms of giving it enough attention. Like, we have work, all these responsibilities outside of family. I don't know. There's something wrong with raising kids and the way society works today. And you can see it, like people, like 50% of all people divorce with young kids because it's just the amount of stress. Pointing back to what I said, it's not the parents like misaligning on values and stuff. It's just the insane amount of stress and lack of sleep and responsibilities outside of family that just forces people to just give up. They just can't take it anymore. Yeah, anyways, I don't feel in that situation at all. Again, pointing to that, I knew about this, like we talked about this a lot before we got kids, that we were going to get into this situation and talked about how to deal with it, and we do that. So I'm not worried at all, but it's just, I'm just reflecting on it. Anyways, but this is like this app we're building. This is actually something that's going to help with that, or hopefully help with that. Just help give some structure, reduce the stress, give some predictability, and on top of that, and I'm looking forward to that when we start talking about nudging. I've been thinking about this nudging engine. Like, there's so many ways this app can actually nudge people. I've been working a ton, by the way. So now you can like add to-dos and set a date, and you can do, when you plan, you see that you see the event's last, and you can click it to kind of join the event or leave the event, stuff like that. Anyway, so yeah, and I actually went shopping with the Sandbox shopping list. But anyways, like when you're done shopping, that's one thing I wanted to add. I want to add Family Scrum. I added this project for UX fixes. Let's see. Add confetti when done shopping. So like when you're done shopping, I want to nudge. So like imagine you're at the store, you're going through the list, you're going for the register, and it just pops up. Buy some flowers for your partner, for example. Like, this is like, being romantic for me isn't about genuinely like feeling inspired by your magical partner, right? Being romantic is about it's just as romantic. I joke around with my girlfriend and I tell her that sometimes I tell her, I thought about buying you flowers today. Like, I didn't spend the time going to the store and actually buy them, but I actually thought about it. And that's just as romantic as actually buying the flowers. And that's what I mean. Like, in a hectic daily life, it's nice to be nudged at the points where you can do these, like, not necessarily romantic things, but these things that kind of just make things a little bit better. So yeah, you're done shopping. You have some, I added the project thing like confetti, and then you get a nudge. And that nudge can be anything from buy some flowers for your partner, buy a treat for one of your kids, like buy yourself a nice beverage and enjoy yourself this evening. Like I think these kinds of nudges, it's going to be insanely powerful. Like in terms of when they happen at the right time, and they happen at the time when you've gone through the store, you're a little bit stressed, probably you need to get home. And yeah, I just think there's a lot of potential in these kinds of nudges. And the nudges aren't like, go and check out this profile. Oh, this person is following this person. Maybe you're interested in that. Like, it's not that kind of nudge. It's an actual endorphin nudge that's not related to like a digital endorphin drip, but an actual practical good one for you. Anyways. So that's one part. And then, as I talked about, when you sit down with your partner, and maybe the kids are part of this as well, and you plan the week, then we also do nudging. Like, we add a new to-do here, which is like make dinner together. And then everybody, yeah, let's do that on Thursday. Everybody taps on Thursday. And you'll make dinner together on Thursday. Or it might be like, go on a stroll together. Yeah, let's do that. Like, do stuff as a family. Stuff that you wouldn't add there yourself, but it's really good for you to do it. And the point where you really, and again, it's the perfect timing. Like, if you're able to get this routine where the family sits down, just goes through the whole week and just commit to the different things that needs to be done, that's the perfect time to nudge the family to do something nice together, because then everybody sees it at the same time. Everybody commits to it at the same time. Yeah, I'm super hopeful for this. Anyways, and yeah, so we're actually like version 1 feature complete now. We have everything we need to go in here or to use the app. Or at least test it. I don't have the logic for actually like creating the family and adding members and stuff, but we don't need that to actually test it. We can just add it to the database. So we're going to actually move into implementing the actual browser environment now, connecting to Firebase. And we have the full interface, so we just have to implement the interface, which is really nice. I thought we could go through the interface and then kind of talk about how we're going to do this. Yeah, so let's do that. Yeah, like I've been coding a lot here. So yeah, I don't remember what I did since last time. So yeah, let's just focus on progress for now, and then hopefully there will be some inspiring things along the way. Okay, so we have our very, very simple authentication effect, and it basically just triggers some events here. So what we're going to do is, let's see, we're going to document the events. Fires authenticated, or it fires unauthenticated, or it fires sign in error. Now the thing is, like, authenticated and unauthenticated actually happens just like without signing in. Like, this is just something that runs when the environment mounts. I'm not really sure where to add those. I guess we could like do this. Oh, let's try that. So it just fires these unrelated to. Yeah, so maybe that could be the way to do it. Like, these might fire at any point in time. yeah, that's the thing. Like these can fire at any point in time because they're going to use the authentication change listener for Firebase. When you do sign in, this is the stuff that yeah. I'm not sure how to like document that. Events that fires unrelated to a method. Yeah, let's just put it there for now. Okay, cool. So maybe we can try to, do I actually have Firebase as a dependency here? Package JSON. Yes, we have Firebase. Cool. So let's try to create, oh, sorry, I'm a little bit tired. Let's try to, that's also a thing we have to check out. It's we have to be able to run the app in two different modes, in sandbox mode and in like browser mode. Maybe we can check that first. Next.js environment variables. Use end.local to load environment variables. Okay. Into the ultimate, I'm going to use the next.js, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, exactly. But what if I want to interesting. How do I like choose different environments? So this would be n.local. Camera in the projects and all types. In the project setting. Well, I need to be able to run with Firebase locally as well. Oh, I guess this. How the hell do we do this? I want to. Actually, I don't understand how to do this. I want to be able to say yarn. I'm so bad at like environments and stuff, like at Code Sandbox as well. I was going to set up some GitHub packages stuff, and like I had no idea how to do that. And it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. It's just that I don't have much experience with it. So for some reason, getting older and better at something kind of locks you into it. I'm not really good at doing stuff I don't know because it just makes me uncomfortable. So this is dev, and I think that should be like sandbox, and then dev browser, next dev. But now I kind of want to set an environment variable here. Oh, I know what we can do. .n.local, because they had this variable thing, which brings in. Yeah, wait. Okay, this is nice. So next dev. Well, I guess so. Local, what does that use to load environment variables? But is that for development? What happens in production? Oh, but does it take secrets from the outside as well? However, sometimes you might want to add some defaults for the development or production. Okay. Okay. .n, and let's do that. And I wonder why they have local. Why don't they have? Let's see. And then n.production. Don't show this again. Yeah, I wonder. Environment. Well, this is environment. Well, that's the thing. I want this to be. Okay. Or does it actually expose from the outside? So if I don't use these things, if I just do move trash, move to trash, and if I just do like environment browser, like maybe that's all I need to do. And we'll just be explicit about that. Let's try this. Okay, so we have everything here, and then where do we actually load up the? Is that in common? Yes, this is where we actually load up the environment. And this is the tricky thing, because, well, I guess it's not tricky. Well, it's kind of tricky because we kind of don't want to bring in the sandbox code when we are in production. So we do want like dynamic imports. I wonder, does Next.js have that? Dynamic imports. Yeah, but it's async, and we don't really want it to be async, do we? Or maybe it doesn't matter. I wonder if this environment provider can be dynamic. Well, one way to find out, and that is to test it. Well, the environment provider doesn't have to, but it's the environment itself that needs to be dynamic. How would we do this? How would we do this? Because then this render is async, and I guess that would create like a hydration issue. Well, I guess it would be, well, it would be async on both sides, which is bad. How would we prevent, like, I guess maybe this needs to be a build thing. So we change out, so here we import from Sandbox, and Sandbox, like, you would just change these imports to be from browser, but that's not very nice, is it? This sucks. I haven't thought about this. How are we going to solve this? I want the Sandbox version of the app. I want the browser version of the app. But I don't want to load the Sandbox in the browser version, and I don't want to load the browser version in the Sandbox. Doesn't it automatically optimize this? Yeah, I think it does. So if okay, I think I know how to deal with this. We can take advantage of like build optimizations. So if I were to import the Sandbox as a single thing, so this is, and then we import a whole. Yes, Sandbox TS. And what we'll do is that we'll export from authentication Sandbox. What is name? Create authentication, and we'll export storage Sandbox. Create storage. Okay. So what we can do in our page container now, we can say import star as Sandbox from environment Sandbox. Oops, environment. So there we have, and then when we do, and here we do the check. Process.env. What should we call this? App environment equals Sandbox. Then we actually use Sandbox. And if that's not the case, is it able to infer this? Yeah, because this becomes true or false, right? This is replaced. So in the code, this would be Sandbox equals Sandbox, and when it optimizes this, it will kind of infer it to be true, and then it looks at the import, and it's not like necessary anymore, and then it should remove it. Like, we should test this, but that's the way it should work. I think. Okay, so we have, let's just add it, browser, and then export const create authentication, and I guess we're going to add some logic there. I'm just doing this for now. Authentication, just to see what the hell happens when we do this. And then we'll do the same for storage. New file, browser, storage. Yeah, but this is also a thing. Like we, when we're, oh, god damn it, how do we do this? When we are in, how the hell do we do this? I really want to dynamically load. That would be ideal. Like we dynamically load different environment providers. So this would be like, here I would do the check, what environment are we in? And then I would load the component. But the problem is if I do that, then it will asynchronously load that component, which means that it doesn't render anything. God damn it. I guess. Like it would just render null. Like how does dynamic import on the server work? They also work with SSR. How do they work with SSR? Path must be explicitly written. It can't be a template string or a firmware. Yeah, that's okay. Loading. But how does it work on the server? Does it actually include it? Like, does it wait for it to load? That's what I don't understand. Oh, god damn it. I'm stuck on this. I have no idea how to do this. Oh. Match web, preload them before rendering. So we can like create, we can, so I guess we can like load each environment. So we have like sandbox, next, because we have to create that environment as well. next, and browser. We can load those as dynamic environment components. And then, okay, let's just try it. We have to start somewhere. Okay, so we're going to change this. We're not going to do this. Well, we're still going to do this. And let's be explicit. Dev sandbox, app environment. Okay, and then we'll need to create the specific environment. So I'm going to delete this. I'm rather going to rename it to sandbox. Sandbox environment. And we are going to basically copy. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to try to, we're not going to do this dynamic part. We're just going to do this dynamic part. So we're going to take this thing. We're going to export column sandbox environment. No idea what the hell happened. Oh, this should be TSX. Let's see, page container. Yeah, and now we, god damn it. Environment provider. Environment provider from, and create, oops, create, oh god damn it, authentication from authentication sandbox, create storage, oops, sandbox. Okay, and we need to have the children here, and children is React node. And then I'm missing a. Okay, so this is the sandbox environment. So if we drop this one, we rather create this dynamic sandbox environment. Dynamic. I wonder how this is going to work. So we're going to say dynamic import environment sandbox environment. Type of, okay, so these needs to be, yeah, they did have with named imports. Yeah. Why is it complaining? Types derives next props. What the hell does that mean? Okay, I don't care. Okay, so we're going to rather load a dynamic sandbox environment here, and let's see how this behaves. So do we get like any hydration errors, or do we actually get the initial server-side render? I don't know. Let's look at the payload. All document. Yeah. We do get the initial payload. That's great. That is awesome. Okay, and then when I sign in, everything's working. This is great. Okay, so now we have dynamic sandbox environment. So what I think happens is that on the server, it doesn't do an async. It just imports it synchronously and it renders it out synchronously. But when we hit the client, there's logic here that does async stuff, and somehow they kind of ignore the hydration warning or something, because they aren't similar, because this needs to be dynamically loaded. Yeah, I don't even want to reflect on how they do that. But what this means is that now we can have more environments. We can have a browser. Let's do the next environment. Dynamic next environment. So what this does, it gives us some more dynamicness. Dynamic next environment. So what we would do is, first we need to introduce the next environment. Currently we're actually just using the actual sandbox. Next. So let's actually implement this. Now the point is, like, you don't really want these what's it called? You don't really want these methods to be called. So you could you can throw an error here. Like some of them, maybe they should be called on the server, but in this case we don't want this to be called. Should not be called on server. So let's do the same for the storage. Oh, let's just do yeah, add event, throw new error, should not be called on server, but we can well, I guess we can just, yeah, we can throw the same error. Should not call error. Should not be called on the server. And we'll just do this. And to do archive event, archive to do, delete grocery, fetch family data. The point is, like, the reason we do this is because we want to have a specific environment implementation for the server-side environment, but we don't really want any of the methods to be called there. We just want to render the initial layout. That might change. Like, maybe we do want to do certain things. So for example, maybe we do want to authenticate the user and grab some data from Firebase in the initial render. But in this case, I don't think we want that. But in other apps, we might want that. Okay. So now we have next, and then we can have a next environment. Boop, boop. So we say next, and we say next. And the good thing about this is now when we create a browser environment, that is where we actually load up Firebase and everything. So even Firebase is like lazily loaded. Okay, so we have that one, and then we'll next environment. Next environment. So what we're going to do now, we're going to dynamically const environment equals process and browser. If we're in the browser, we want a dynamic sandbox environment. So we're going to extend on this later, but now we're doing this. Okay, so let's try that. Oh, please add name to your function. I guess it's these ones. Export default function. What's it called? Next environment. And then export function, sandbox environment. Yeah, this is something we should add to the documentation. Yeah, so what happens now? Okay, this is interesting. So it doesn't actually load anything now. Does it give an error? It doesn't even give an error. So it looks like yeah, this didn't actually work. Why didn't this work? Isn't that an environment variable? Default. Oops. Next.js. Check server or browser. Oh, process.browser. My bad. Okay, cool. So now, yeah, exactly. Now we're starting to get issues. Did not expect server HTML to contain a div in div. This is what I was talking about. Because on the server it synchronously renders out the HTML, but now on the client it does it asynchronously. Let me just double check that I did everything correctly here. So we have an environment provider, children, sandbox environment, sandbox, next, and then in our page container we have dynamic. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is what I was afraid of. Yeah, so because I think on the server it actually renders this immediately because it's a synchronous import. But on the client it's not synchronous anymore. It's async, which means that it doesn't have that div yet. It's null. And that's why it says did not expect server HTML to contain a div in div. It did not expect this div to be there. So one way to deal with this is, of course, to do. We can suppress hydration warning. I'm not sure if that's where we should do it. Yeah, it needs to be done on the actual. Yeah, where the fuck do we do that? It needs to be done in the environment. Oh, yeah, where do we actually do it? Oh, you can. Yeah, where the hell would we do that? Because we can't do it here. That doesn't make any sense. Like, it has to be on the element. So like if we do, let's just remove this just to. So if we do this, it works just fine. But as soon as we insert like a div here, we get the issue. Now the thing is that this environment, like it uses the environment provider, but there's no div here, right? There's only suppress, like there's nothing to suppress. God damn it. God damn it. So like it works. Like it does work. Like it's supposed to work this way. It's just that React is a little bit confused that we're asynchronously loading the environment on the browser, but not on the server. And we can't really, well, maybe it's just we have to do it on the uppermost thing. So where's our app? Sorry, app. Here we have page container. Yeah, so like if we did this, suppress. Yeah, there you see, there it works. We kind of have to do it on the outmost div. But again, would it suppress it only for that thing, or does it now suppress it for the whole freaking tree? So if I did, let's just remove this for now. So if I did process.browser, it's a div or it's a span. What happens if I do this? Do I still get suppression warning? No, like it just completely ignores it. What the hell is this? Yeah, it completely ignores it. So now I've lost React's ability to ensure that we don't get into this issue because I'm suppressing at the highest level. But why did it work with... Oh, no. This is not the hydration warning. No. It's because we are actually loading different... We are actually loading different environments here. Ah, of course. Yes, of course. So, yes, sorry, we did this the wrong way. So this should not be the next environment. This should be, okay. This should be next. Rename TS. Rename sandbox. And then we are going to export this one. This is the thing that needs to be exported. Boop, boop. And then sandbox. This is the thing we're going to export. Export default like that. And we're not going to use because we need to use fuck, how are we going to do this? Dynamic imports. Next.js dynamic imports. How do we do this? This doesn't help me. Because now we have to import. We're just doing a dynamic import. God damn it. So this is just, yeah, so this is just dynamic, just general dynamic imports. The thing is that I want a lazy component. How do I combine this? I want it to be the same component, but I want, what the fuck? I had no idea this was going to be so complex. I want it to be the same component, but I want the property to be lazy. This prevents the warning. But if I want the property to be lazy, I also need the component to be lazy. And that doesn't really work, does it? Wait a minute. What if I did... Oh, wait. Let's see now. Then env, and then we do environment provider. How will we do? Oh, wait a minute. No, this doesn't work. Well, maybe it does. Let's see. create environment provider. Yeah, because this is the thing. We're kind of, we need, let's see, environment. So this needs to be the same component. How the fuck do I do this? Ja? Jeg streamer. Jeg streamer. Because I want the property to be lazy, and then it should return a component. But the point is, it needs to be the same component. It says if I kind of have to lazy load the environment provider as well. And I just have to lazy load the whole thing, maybe. Like the whole shebang. Oh shit, did I remove everything here now? Okay, let's bring that back. So wouldn't that give the same problem? No, I think we can actually lazy load the whole thing. Okay, let's try this. So we'll, I'm just going to copy environment provider. I'm going to do this. Environment. Okay. Sandbox environment. Next environment. So we're lazy loading the config. And then we just render out the whole thing. Let's see. I'm going to try something. So let's see. Environment. Well, I guess we can call this the app. What do we call it? Sandbox environment. But okay, let's just try it. Let's see what happens. Then env environment provider. Well, I guess we'll have to do like this. So why doesn't this work? Next props. Oh, because it need. I feel this is hacky. Then I have this issue. Oh, this is, well, at least we're exploring how, let's see, approps. Yeah. Well, could I do it the other way around? So here we have the app. What if we just load everything lazy? Not just the environment provider. So this is the actual, yeah, this is in, wouldn't that, well, let's try it. So we have page container. What do we call this? What is this? Okay, let's keep calling that page container. And then we'll do this. We don't have this. We'll rather create a new one called environment. And that's the thing that's going to dynamically load the thing. So we're not doing this. We're actually environment. And here we actually create. Okay, so new. So page container is going to be dynamically loaded. Well, let's export default function page container. Cool. That's going to be the page container. Then we have the environment, and this is going to be the dynamically loaded one. And the thing is, we need to create a sandbox environment. Export default function sandbox environment. Sandbox environment. Yes, and this is actually going to import like the okay, interesting. So let's drop this stuff. We'll remove that later. And this is going to use an environment provider. And then this is going to lazily load dynamic page container equals dynamic. I have no idea if this is actually going to work. Import page container. Yeah, because it's the props. This isn't going to need children anymore. Well, it is. Sorry, it's going to use children. Let's do this inline. React node, but it's going to get it from the environment, sandbox environment, children. I have a feeling we're going to get the same issue. Children, dynamic page container. Okay, so we're changing things around a little bit. So this would now be import sandbox environment. What are you complaining about? Let's just return. I'm not sure if this actually has children. But why is this complaining? Type are incompatible. Oh, void, sorry. That's a classic one. And then we have the app, which is not going to, it's just going to load the environment. Like that. We don't need this sandbox. We don't need this next. So we're just going to try with the sandbox first to see if it actually runs. And then we'll do the dynamic stuff. Let's see. Okay, so it loads. Now let's bring in the next environment and see if we get an error. Next environment. I have a feeling we're going to get an error. But it was worth trying. Next environment. Like, what does it mean to be the same component? Next environment. I'm typing something wrong. Why is this yelling? Weird. Okay, so process browser. Oh, sorry. Or we'll actually use the next environment. We got the exact same fucking error. Fuck. Okay, I can't spend more time on this. I have no idea how to fix this. This is so annoying. Like, I don't want to lazily load the component. I want to lazily load a property of the component. And if I lazily load a property through two different kinds of components, it will see them as different components, meaning it gives a hydration warning. What's the answer to this? How would we lazily load? Yeah, no idea. I have to stop the stream. Oh, this is fucking annoying. God damn it. I don't think there's a way to fix this. Because it has to be the same component that we're lazily loading. But if it's the same component, then it needs to be the same props. But we want different props. And we can't pass it from the outside. Because we need to lazily load the props. And that means the whole page is lazily loaded. We can't have any of that. I do wonder why these are considered different though. Well, they are different components, right? They are different components. It's just, I wonder how hydration works. Like, does it care about? I thought it only cared about elements, not actual components. I could also, like, it's the same interface. It's also possible to have like a front-facing interface where you can just call methods, but they are like lazily. It's kind of weird. God damn it. What is the solution to this? I don't think this is. What's this? No, that's not what I want. Oh, I can't drop this. I can't drop it. Like, can I make okay, so let's god damn it, we'll have to redo everything. Oh, I can just redo this one. We're going to do one more thing. We're going to say dynamic environment. And then we're rather going to do the check inside here. Process browser. Or import next environment. That's also a way to look at it. We have a dynamic environment here. Like that. Is this still working? Page container. We'll remove that one. We don't do this. We're just going to do this. It actually worked, I think. Yeah, god damn it, it actually worked. So it's the dynamic component itself that needs to be, oh god damn it. It's the dynamic component itself that needs to be the same, but what we import in it doesn't really matter. Like as long as it gives the same DOM structure. That's interesting. So what we can also check here now is, yeah, we can check everything inside this one. Okay, so this is how we do it. Okay, we fixed it. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Awesome. Okay, we fixed it. God damn it. That was tricky. Okay, I'll probably start implementing the browser stuff. I really wanted to kind of get into that with you, but yeah. We got into some server-side rendering issues instead, but at least we solved it. Okay, bye-bye.